gosh, why would Lindsay Clancy ever stipulate to any facts while she's on trial? Well, it's a great day for a great day. My name is Sydney Rushing. I'm a criminal defense attorney in the state of Michigan. Day 6 of Lindsay Clancy's trial wrapped up on Tuesday, and here's what happened. The morning started off with a brief sidebar, and then the judge started questioning Lindsay Clancy about signing this stipulation, which was just so the prosecutors didn't have to call in a bunch of witnesses. The only thing that she was stipulating to was regarding the blood and urine specimens and the chain of custody of them. That's it. That's all she was stipulating to. The judge asked her if she understood that by stipulating this, that the prosecutor didn't have to prove this anymore, and she said she understood, so then they moved on. Witness number 33, Dr. Christina Carpio, was called to the stand. She was the surgeon that was on call at South Shore Hospital. She testified to Lindsay's injuries. She first talked about the cuts on her wrist and her neck, saying that they were superficial. She also said how Lindsay had CT scans of basically her entire body. She said that Lindsay was hypothermic and suffering from low blood pressure, so they increased the temperature in the room to kind of help bring her body temperature up. And she also confirmed that Lindsay had some complex fractures in her spine. Cross-examination, she confirmed that Lindsay's injuries were a level 1, which is the highest level of risk and severity. She also confirmed that she was taken to Brigham and Women's Hospital because she needed a high level of care. She said she couldn't testify about the coding or for her having a big blood transfusion, and she also said that the low blood pressure was due to her injuries. Witness number 34 was Lieutenant Joseph Rabbit with the Massachusetts State Police. He did not respond to the scene. He responded to the hospital. He spoke with Patrick briefly at the hospital, and then he did go to the house to help with the search warrant. During the search in the kitchen, he found some pill bottles. He took them out, placed them on the kitchen counter. Those medications were photographed, and then the prosecutor did admit those into evidence. He also talked about how Patrick Clancy and his attorney brought a bag of medications to the department. Those were all reviewed. He went through each and every bottle, said what they were, and that there was, a bunch remaining in each of these bottles. He was asked on cross-examination if they intended to seize the medication, and he said that yes, it was in the search warrant itself. He was asked if he went into a nightstand and retrieved an Apple Watch, medications, and sleeping aids, and he said that he was not aware, but that he did not do it. Witness number 35, Maureen Harnick, was then called to the stand. She's a forensic scientist with the Massachusetts State Police. On January 24th, she was asked to go to the hospital, and she saw Lindsay Clancy there. She noted that Lindsay had red-brown stains on her hands, and she took samples of those from her hand. She also collected some of the clothing that Lindsay had on. Later on, she did get called to the scene, and she went to the basement, and she saw the red-brown stains there, and she had to take samples of that. And she also went to the master bedroom and saw red-brown stains there, took photos of those, and took samples of those as well. Obviously, the jury got to see photos of all these things that came in through this witness. She also talked about a few other instances where she went back to the house or to Lindsay Clancy to take more samples from each of those locations. She said she also was the one who testified the bands to see who the holder of those bands was. On cross-examination, she was asked a little bit more about the locations that she searched and samples from. One of the main ones was the shingles that she went back like 6 months later to take a sample of. And the attorney's like, well, wouldn't weather affect all this? And she's like, absolutely. After she was done testifying, witness number 36, Massachusetts State Police Trooper Jonathan O'Loughlin, was called to the stand. He works in the Crime Scene Services Department of the Massachusetts State Police. He talked about how he, documents scenes, photographs with videography, sketches, and how he processes, the items that they collect. He was part of the group that was there on January 24th doing the search warrant. As part of his response to the scene, he collected a brown belt, 3 exercise bands, red pajamas, a pink robe, a red covered knife and phone. He said that they fingerprinted these items, but they didn't have enough to come back with who the holder of those things was. On cross-examination, the attorney basically questioned him about the thoroughness of this investigation and whether he had saw any medications in the nightstand next to the bed, and he said that he had not. Witness number 37 was Hillary Griffins, who works in the toxicology unit at the state crime lab. She basically talked about the process of how they process these things and how they, look in the samples to the presence of rugs, things like that. She also confirmed that all these tests are followed up by confirmation tests. Later tests that they use can be more concentrated to kind of show what the levels of the rug presence was, where the preliminary ones kind of to show whether there is presence or not. She said that the samples were tested for benzos, and they both tested positive, both her blood and her urine. On cross-examination, she basically went through the toxicology report a little bit more. They noted the different medications that were found in her system, but what wasn't in her system was alcohol, the big C, the big F, the big M, opioids, or cannabis. Obviously, I can't say the name of those without getting in trouble here. Put it quickly, the C1 rhymes with cocaine, and the F1 is like a brand Fenty, and then the third one is like method, right? But without the id. I'm losing my mind if I really have to do that kind of stuff just to have these videos be okay. Anyways, witness number 38 was Lisa Yell. And yes, she works with the Massachusetts State Police with the State Crime Lab with the toxicology unit. She's the one who tested Lindsay's blood and urine and tested it for drugs and for prescription medications. She gave us a list of the things that was found in Lindsay's blood. On cross-examination, the defense attorney was a little spicy because he's like, we already stipulated to all this. I don't know why we're going through this, but he had her confirm that it was a good test, explained what metabolites are, how it breaks down, and just basically like this test is what it is. The jury got a lunch break, and then when they came back from lunch, judge explained to them what a stipulation is and what it means. Witness number 39 was Alicia Zimmerman. She is also a forensic scientist with the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab, and she works in the toxicology unit. She's the one who did the testing of the children's blood and urine samples, and she said she found nothing in them, as we expect. Then to round out the day, we had witness number 40, which was Sherry Cook, who took the stand. She's a supervisor at the State Crime Lab. She also happens to be a bloodstain pattern analyst. And if you know anything, a lot of defense attorneys will tell you that bloodstain patterns and all these other things are kind of like junk science, okay? But anyways, here's what she had to say. One of the first things that she talked about on direct examination was whether she was accredited to do this or she was certified to do this, and if this is a certified or accredited type of science, and she said yes. She kind of explained what bloodstain pattern is and how like they see it on a surface, they kind of look at it, they try to determine which way it was traveling, how it got there, which is why a lot of defense attorneys will tell you it's junk science because you weren't there. You can like see it, but you don't know for sure. He described the things they look for, such as drips, splatters, smears, swipes, wipes, pools, transfers, satellite stains, transfer stains, saturation stains, flow, and anything that could be unclassified. Because unclassified sounds really scientific. Specified how she looked at the crime scene photos, identified one of the stains upstairs as being a drip stain pattern. Basically, someone was standing there and not moving, and it was just dripping onto the ground. And she said someone moved through this, which caused the smear. They also talked about the stains that were on the nightstand, and there was the wonderful picture of the sharp object that was laying on there with covered in red stuff that was shown. Then she tried to talk about like the side shingles, and the defense objected, saying like that was never tested for blood. She said yes it was. Anyways, they come back, they testify about it, and how basically like a bloody object came in contact with it and it created the stain. On cross-examination, the defense attorney had her confirm that they do not say that red-brown stains are automatically blood. It's later determined by testing through the lab. Said that she didn't know that the outside of the windowsill was not tested, that it's possible that something banged or moved the sharp object on the nightstand. The defense attorney also said that the blood that was on the mirror could have been from her, doing that action with the sharp object. On redirect, she confirmed that the blood that was found on the shingles could have been from somebody hanging over. And on recross, the defense was like, okay, so if someone acted like Spider-Man coming down the side of this house, we would expect to see a smear mark on the way down. She's like, yes, where there was contact made, there would be a smear. And that wrapped up day 6. Thank you for being here. Thank you for following along. Here's the question of the day. Do you believe that bloodstain patterns is junk science, or do you think it's real? Let me know in the comments.